What it do, baby? It's your boy, Mr. Pro Fights Be Like, here on the Pro Fights Be Like podcast, episode 44. And we are here to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. So, if you've been under a rock and you don't know what's happening with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, which is one of the most popular cryptocurrencies, just hit $100,000. So, I thought for this episode, I would bring on someone who I think is an expert, who is also my Neo, like my Neo that's like right up under me, not no like
Pause.
whoa, not like he crossed 5 years. I crossed fall 12 and he crossed fall 14. Let's give it up for Chris Talks Crypto. Chris, what's up? How you doing?
Hey man, happy to be here. How's it going?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you for taking out the time to come and talk to your old pro fight, man.
Yeah.
You're not the first ZA person to be on the podcast, but you are my first Neo to
I
be.
did see my dean was on here too.
Yes, your dean was on here.
I did
Absolutely.
see that. So shout out to both 12s. Yeah, shout out to both 12s
Hey
actually.
man, it definitely and Deuce Clubs. You already know how we get down.
Oh, see, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, you
No, I didn't think about that.
You see the vision? For sure. Yeah. So Chris, he crossed Fall 14, Anchor Club, 11 Club. Also probably the tallest person to ever come through Zeta Alpha at 6'6".
I think so.
Gotta be. I don't know.
Either me or Frank, like way back in like the '90s type stuff.
Absolutely. I forgot.
That's my only comp right now.
Definitely, for sure. Chris, tell us a little bit about you. What you majored in while we were at Mizzou, and a little bit of what you've done after your career and how you got into cryptocurrency.
Yeah, for sure. Again, everyone, my name's Chris. Chris Talks Crypto. From Bloomington, Illinois, originally. Went to the University of Missouri in 2012. Graduated around 2017. Majored in chemical engineering, and so all things math and science and STEM and whatnot. And eventually, I worked my way into the oil and gas industry. So I came to Houston in 2016 for the first time, and ended up just loving it the first time that I saw it. The industry is very big down here, so I always knew that was something I wanted to do. I've worked my way across the Gulf Coast, actually. So Baton Rouge, Beaumont, Texas, and then eventually Houston, Texas. Just working for different companies within the oil and gas industry, doing primarily production engineering and kind of really working in these chemical plants and refineries. And that's been most of my career at this point. I'm a little bit more on the design side of engineering at this point and project management. But speaking of Bitcoin and how I got into that, really I've also, in addition to doing my 9 to 5 with engineering and whatnot, I've also been working with trading and looking at the markets for the last really about 6 years at this point. Just kind of either day trading or swing trading and just kind of looking at different opportunities that could arise in the stock market or really any type of futures market and whatnot. That's kind of what I've been doing for the past 5 years, just kind of in my spare time. And crypto, I really got interested in that, I'd say somewhere around 2020. Just kind of looking into it and realizing that, hey, this could be an opportunity in the future. I kind of read up on it a little bit in the years prior, but like actually marrying that knowledge of markets and trading with the understanding of like the technology and crypto and putting those together, that really kind of gave me a better understanding of like kind of what it could be. And so far it has followed a pattern consistently over a 4-year period. And it's been cool. It's been cool to watch, something that I've been happy to document for sure.
Most definitely. So how would you explain crypto and blockchain to someone completely new to the concept?
Yeah, so I would say you kind of have to start with, it's almost a weird question. Like let's say someone makes a hypothetical $75,000 a year. All right, well, you make $75,000. But no one ever stops to ask, and it's a weird question, what's a dollar? Like a dollar is like, this unit of currency that we've been using for hundreds and hundreds of years and whatnot. And part of the original reason that I got serious in crypto was like 2023. There was actually a bank crash, and it was very quiet. Like it wasn't highly publicized or anything. But in terms of absolute dollar amounts, there was a crash that was equivalent to like 2008, like in terms of like dollar terms. But I just kind of took me down this rabbit hole of like, all right, well, what is this whole inflation thing? Why did these banks crash? And it just opened a world of like financial kind of nonsense to me that I didn't quite understand. But Bitcoin is very simple in the sense that the big part of it is scarcity, and that's the thing that the dollar lacks. Is they can print as many dollars as they want, and they've done that since 2008. Really, they call it quantitative easing and whatnot, but really with Bitcoin, there is a fixed supply, and that number is 21 million. That is the most Bitcoin that there will ever be. And so, like, if you've done any type of research in business or whatnot, or study any type of economics, we talk about supply and demand all the time, and how does that affect price? So if there's a fixed supply with Bitcoin, and it's backed up by computers, it's backed up by really the most secure network that I've ever seen. Kind of talking about the tech side, right? Like, it's a very secure network, and it gets more secure as time goes by and more people adopt it. To me, it's incredible. But the big part is like going back to the money is if you only have so much of something, your value appreciates over time. But if you're going back to the dollar, right, and we're printing so much of it, it gets less and less scarce over time. So like the value of it goes down. So it's to me, the technology is incredible. The financial prospects are incredible. The political prospects are incredible. So that's, if I had to try to make it hit home for like what does it mean to you as a person, that's kind of the route that I would go.
Okay. What are some most common misconceptions people have about crypto?
I think there's risk in everything, right? There's absolutely risk in everything that you do. You can do things to mitigate those risks, but you can't fully eliminate risk from life. So people look at it and like they say like, oh, this is so risky. But if you look at, and I talk about like my experience in trading and whatnot, and just kind of understanding what the charts in the markets are, it's just like these sometimes like continuous patterns that repeat over and over again. And you just kind of look for patterns in the market, and that's how people end up profiting. Is because they find these patterns and they just execute these patterns over and over and over again. So with that, Bitcoin does go in periods of, it's flat, it doesn't do anything. And then it goes in periods where it starts to go up kind of slowly. Then it starts to go up very fast. And then it may drop off for a little bit. And that's like a year by year. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. You can look at it and it happens like clockwork over and over again for the past 16 years, really. It's happened since 2009. And it just takes time to play out, right? So there are risks associated with it. But the biggest thing I would say with crypto is understanding where you're at in that cycle. So if you hop into crypto right when it's about to go down, sure, you're going to think this is crazy. It's a risk. Like, I understand that. I absolutely get why a lot of people do believe that crypto is risky and whatnot. I would say the reason for that is most people get excited about crypto when it's at the very top, when it's at a fever pitch and like, everyone's all euphoric. But the thing is, like, if everyone's excited, there's no one who's not excited. That means everyone has already bought in. So if everyone's bought in, the only place it can go is down pretty much. So, and then like, what I'm saying, like everyone kind of buys in there, and then their experience is that, all right, well, now it just goes down. But the thing is, you just didn't know where you were at in the market cycle, and that's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that, you mentioned, crypto being at this high mark. Is it still are we still in the early days of crypto adoption?
Yeah. We're absolutely in the early days, and that surprised me. That's something that it really, I told you I started looking at this seriously within the last like year and a half. I thought that, oh man, I'm late to the party, but what I'm starting to realize is like you have to almost not think locally, you have to think globally when it comes to crypto, because like this isn't something that America has a monopoly on, or Japan, or really any country in the world has a monopoly on. So it's 8 billion people versus just maybe the 300 million people that might be in America. It's global, so you have to think globally. So it can be huge. So people see 100,000, and it's like they think that it's like this type of ceiling, right? But I don't think that's the case.
Absolutely.
I think it's I put it like this, like, for you and me and just like, the average Joe Blow, $100,000, that's a lot. That's almost like, that's a very expensive car, or that's a, kind of a house of some sorts, right? Once you start getting into those six figures for people who realistically don't make six figures, it's like, all right, well, that's out of reach. But you have to also consider that there are other people who can buy this too. Like, there are corporations who have billions of dollars. There are governments who have billions of dollars who have decided that Bitcoin is the thing. And, for them, $100,000, if people are potentially, right, hypothetically projecting 1 million or 10 million, and it's, again, following this pattern, there are very smart people who are looking at this pattern. At that point, $100,000 seems cheap if they have the money to supply it. So it's one of those things where we talk about Bitcoin, and like there's Bitcoin and there's also crypto too. But I guess we'll kind of leave it at that for that question. So
yeah, most definitely. I forgot to ask the most important question. So, why Alpha? Why did you decide to join Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the Zeta Alpha chapter?
The Zeta Alpha chapter specifically. Dude, yeah, Zeta Alpha. I saw some goofballs. I was like, you know what? These guys might be all right, man. But no, it was. I'll say for Alpha for real. Actually, my dad is an Alpha, and I kind of saw it growing up, but I didn't have any type of strong commitment to it. But getting to Mizzou, I did see get on campus and kind of looked to my left and looked to my right and saw who was who, and to me, ZA definitely stuck out because they touched very many parts of campus and whatnot, and I just cool people. Like I said, like in general, cool people. Put on some good events, and then. Fall 14, we got there, and the rest has been history. I've loved my time in Alpha. So,
yeah, and I'm kind of jealous of y'all because y'all was you and your ship was just all together for y'all 10-year.
Yeah,
Me and my ship, we ain't celebrating no 5-year, no 10-year, nothing right now as of this moment. So, and I'm sure you saw this in the video I sent to y'all, but
yeah, no, I had a good chuckle for sure.
Yeah, so, and Miles. Miles
Yeah.
was telling me that the first video that I sent y'all, he was like, "Wait, that's it?" I'm like,
No, there was a cutoff. There was a cutoff. Yeah.
I had to send the second video because I didn't know what the crowd was, so I had to make one video that was like
That's
all
cool.
cordial and stuff like that, and then a second video to really like talk stuff to y'all, So I had
Exactly.
I
You know what? I
separate
can
it.
appreciate that. I can appreciate that.
I'm corporate now, so I gotta watch what I say around certain people and stuff like that. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. So no, let's get back into crypto though. Appreciate you and those sentiments as well. Many people talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. What other projects or altcoins excite you and why?
Yeah. So the things that'll be mainstream and the things that people hear about will be like those top 10 or 15 tokens. And at a certain point, Bitcoin was the thing, and that was it. Like there were bull runs in 2013 where it was only Bitcoin. And then 2017, Bitcoin, Ethereum started to join the wave. You had Link and Ripple and all these other ones that are still legacy coins around today. Then 2021, that was the one where crypto in and of itself really exploded and it became its own thing. So this is where you start to have things like meme coins and NFTs and all this other type of stuff. So I will tell you that crypto is constantly evolving. And if you're using a strategy that like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to buy Ethereum, that's great. And you'll probably get, I'll say maybe, I don't know, let's say Ethereum goes to 10,000, right? It's 4,000. I think it's going to go higher than that. Like, let's say 15. Let's say Ethereum goes to 15,000. From here at 4,000 roughly, that is almost a 4x. So you can, multiply your money by 4 if you get in at this point, assuming it does get there. But there are other ones at this point that are going 400% in a day or 400% over the course of a month. And then I think that continues to accelerate as you get into the more euphoric part of the market. So I would say crypto has gotten harder every single cycle because, again, like I said, there was only Bitcoin at a certain point. Mm-hmm. There was only Ethereum and Bitcoin and a few others that really ran at a certain point. But as it evolves, more and more comes into the market. So it takes a careful eye. I think it really does take a careful eye. And I think with that's why I tried to surround myself with people who also understood about crypto. And that's where Pulse on Crypto comes in. So you have myself, you have my two business partners, Chris and Orlando, and then you have people who are analyzing the market as well, like Trav and Nosa, who are in the Discord. So it takes more tools and a more watchful eye, I would say, to kind of understand where the waves are going in the market. But I think that's why it's a good reason to kind of align yourself with a group or an individual who knows kind of where they're going or what they're actually not even where they're going, what they're looking at, I would say.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk a little bit about Pulse on Crypto later. We're going to save that for last, save the best for last.
Save the best for last.
Absolutely. Another question would be for someone who's looking to start investing in crypto. What's your advice for getting started and how to start responsibly?
Yeah. So first of all, not financial advice. Nothing. This is for informational and educational purposes only.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my advice for how to get started is I would say spend a weekend. Take a weekend and just look up, hey, what is crypto? What is Bitcoin? Watch some YouTube videos. Kind of see from several different perspectives how it would be useful to you. I would say, look at it from an economic perspective, look at it from a technology perspective, kind of just why you don't have to understand it fully, but just kind of get a general gauge for what it is. And then I would say, look at it from the political perspective and the legal perspective. What are some of the things, maybe just watch YouTube videos. Let someone else explain it to you. You don't have to read all this. But I'd say take a weekend, and if you just want to jump in and get started, you got to understand who your platforms are and where you get to. So Coinbase, these are your major exchanges. And I think Coinbase is going to be the biggest one in America. It's pretty much been chosen at this point. But you also have things like Kraken or Crypto.com. So those are centralized exchanges. And then if you want to get into the real crypto and understand what the nitty gritty is, that's when you start getting into decentralized exchanges. And that's what crypto really comes into. It's there's it's decentralized finance, really. DeFi is what it's called. So basically with that, I mean, you can kind of autonomously pretty much, and I don't even know if autonomously is the word, but it's you can instantaneously trade without any permission, without any asking anybody to, if you need to and whatnot, without having to really sign up for anything besides a crypto wallet, which takes about 5 minutes to set up. And you can trade any type of crypto token that pops up on the market. So that's where the really big gains are. The getting into stuff before people even know about it. You have to understand about decentralized finance pretty much. So if they want to get started, I would say start with the big ones, and then kind of work your way down. But things like Ethereum and Solana is going to do fantastic. Anything on the Base network, I think that's kind of it. So if I was going to get started, yeah.
Absolutely. So how would you respond to skeptics who believe crypto is a bubble or just a fad that's just around for today and gone tomorrow type ordeal? How would you respond to those type of critics?
I would say that Bitcoin, and here's the thing, when I say Bitcoin and crypto, those are really two different things, because crypto means everything else that is not Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is really the pristine collateral aspect of it, the institutional finance, and those big kind of almost blue chip ones like Ethereum and whatnot. Those are big ones, but I see crypto really as the technology aspect of how is the finance kind of side of things done. If you were a skeptic, I would say just look at the history of Bitcoin and look at all the things that it has overcome and it has hurdled over the last several years. And really, even if you just look at the last year and a half, legally, politically, geopolitically, and in an energy perspective, on a corporate basis, Bitcoin has overcome every single obstacle. Wall Street has adopted it now. If you're skeptical at this point, ask yourself, like, if you really look at it, whether you love him or hate him, that's none of my care. The president is Trump right now. He's pro-crypto. The House is overwhelmingly pro-crypto. The Senate is overwhelmingly pro-crypto. The SEC chair, which is not the football SEC, but the Security and Exchange Commission, the ones who pretty much regulate Wall Street, all that type of trading, they are pro-crypto now. Assuming that all the inauguration goes through and everything, that this administration does come in, everyone's pro-crypto at this point. States are becoming pro-crypto. Corporations are becoming pro-crypto. Michael Saylor, like he's a big name in crypto. Him and MicroStrategy, he has absolutely led the charge on corporate finance and adopting Bitcoin onto the strategy. It's a thing where any corporation in America could do what MicroStrategy is doing right now, but they have just not done so yet. Which is, it takes time, but like almost choosing to be not anti-crypto right now is the bigger risk, in my opinion. Just because, again, you have to follow what the wave is. Like, your opinion is one thing, but you actually have to understand, like, hey, where is this going? Not where is it right now, but where is it going, in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. So that's what I would say to any of the skeptics. It's just like, look at the patterns over the last 4 years, see that they are consistent, and then also look at the adoption. Like, we're on the side of adoption where things start to move quickly as everyone globally starts to adopt it as it comes from the top down. Again, these governments and corporations and all this type of stuff.
Absolutely. What advice would you give your past self when you first got into cryptocurrency? Me personally, right? So my first time ever hearing about Bitcoin. First time ever hearing about Bitcoin was a movie called Dope. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah. Yep, it came out in 2015.
It came out in 2015. I saw that movie. You sort of familiar with the St. Louis area. I saw that movie at the Galleria. And outside, like in the Galleria, it was a Bitcoin machine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh wait, they just talked about that in the movie. Maybe I should go to the machine and buy some. And at Bitcoin, let me check real quick where Bitcoin was in 2015. Maybe you have 2015. Let's see.
It was like $200. It wasn't even four figures yet.
It was, by the time when I saw the movie, it was definitely around $200.
Yeah.
So if I would have just bought one Bitcoin at $200 in 2015,
yep,
I would have, as of today, it's at 106, 107, 107,000. $106,309.24.
$106,000.
Insane.
And the thing that people get caught up on is like the reason that we're not used to this is because it's following, and I guess we should explain why it moves so explosively.
Yeah.
Like the reason that it moves so explosively, and you see these 100,000, and I'm telling you, like I'm projecting, like my projection was 250,000 when I first started out, like about a year and a half ago. It's about 450,000 right now, and I think it will temporarily overshoot that.
450,000 where? Like when you say when you say it's aiming for 450,000, are you saying
US dollars?
Specific? Correct, but are you saying in like a specific time frame? By like 20?
I would say, but before, my original was 250,000 by the end of 2025. I am saying 450,000 in that same time frame. I just like by the end of 2025. Like I'll give it till December. I think that's realistic, actually. It sounds crazy because it's like, all right, well, it couldn't go up that much. But again, I'm telling you, you have to consider who's buying now. It's not me and you. It's not me. This is not a small fish game anymore. So that's kind of my other point too. Like with Bitcoin, I'm not saying that you missed the boat because there are absolutely ways to profit from it. Like from the futures market to the options market to the stock market to all these other stuff. But again, those are more advanced strategies than just like buying and holding it in the way that it was easy in the past. Now you have to, again, be more advanced and you have to look at more like stuff on a much deeper level. So that's where the real gains are. Long term, like, if you have a decent amount of money and you want, Bitcoin's annual return at this point is 50%. If you just average it out over the last 15 years, that sounds great to some people. An easy 50 or 60%, that's fine. But again, that's not life changing money. I would say that crypto is known for.
Absolutely. And there are different like calculations. Like, for example, like I just put in a calculation, if someone was to invest, $100 at the current price of 106,000
Mm.
and the sale price is 450,000, they would have profited $324, bringing their account to $424. Now, imagine if you add another zero onto end of that 100 and another zero, then your profits increase.
Yeah.
So,
And
with
so
that,
and so that's the thing. Like, if you have $100,000, if you're in the six figure range of your savings, and that's, or not even of your savings, if that's what the money that you have available and that you want to invest, sure, that you can get a cool 50 or 60%, and that's going to do. You're already up the curve pretty much. Like they say, your first 100,000 is the hardest,
yeah,
so you're already up the curve, and things get much quicker from there. So, like, most retirement calculations or whatever. They're accounting for maybe 8 to 15% a year. Really, I don't even think it's that much. I think it's more like 4 to 8%. All right, well, if you're doing 30 or 50% or that type of stuff, well, the numbers get pretty good pretty quickly. If you're looking at historical appreciation and trying to project that out into the future.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, this is where Pulse on Crypto comes in. So,
What we got?
are there any resources you recommend?
Yeah, so we back in April, again, we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. My business partners and I developed a crypto company, really, more so on an educational basis. Like, we really want people to understand, like, hey, what is this that you're looking at? Why is it important? Where do we believe that it's going in the future? I think overall we believe that there are ways to do crypto intelligently, and I think there are a lot of dumb ways to do it as well. So we're trying to make sure that people have some type of guidance, I would say. Um, and that's where Pulse on Crypto came in. It was originally a Discord, and we've written several ebooks between myself, Orlando, and Chris. Um, and also, we just released our course in November, the Escape Velocity course, basically walking people from A to Z in crypto and really understanding the landscape of decentralized finance and how they can kind of profit from it. Because most people, they understand the traditional finance landscape, like, the banks and all the systems and services and products that they offer. But most people don't understand at this point that there's also another layer too. There's a layer to where they can operate outside of on a global basis. Really, all it is you're operating on a global basis at that point. Like, you're dealing with a system of computers that are communicating with each other, and they're exchanging value based on codes and seed phrases and whatnot. And it sounds complex and it sounds complicated, but once you sit down and listen to it a couple times, I think you'll really get a good understanding of crypto. And really, the crypto portion of it is about, I don't know, 7 hours, I would say. So if you spend, let's say, an hour a day, you're done. You've gotten maybe you've gotten 50% of an understanding there in that first week, and then maybe you listen to it in the next week. So that's another 7 hours, and like you get an understanding there. So it's like, all right, well, maybe now I understand it at 60 or 70%. And then now you're watching the markets a little bit closer. So really, for us, it's that we understand. You're not going to understand all this stuff overnight. It's complex. It has its ins and outs, but I think at the end of the day, it's something that most people should look into. I think everyone should look into. Not even most people. Everyone should look into this at least, and at least come to a conclusion for yourself whether or not it's for you. And if it's not for you, that's fine. But we're going into 2025. If you want to put something on your New Year's resolution list, I think that would be pretty good.
Absolutely. So, how can one join Pulse on Crypto, the Discord, get all the information, the ebooks that you've written, any of that information? How can one get that?
Yeah, so at pulseoncrypto.com, like pulse, like your heartbeat, like that type of pulse. Pulse on crypto. on Instagram, Chris Talks Crypto on YouTube. I mean, at this point, I've been talking about Bitcoin for about 87 weeks at this point. Um, really just doing kind of like technical analysis and seeing what the ins and outs of what the upcoming week might be. I try to take it by week basis. So Chris Talks Crypto on Instagram and Pulse on Crypto on Instagram as well. And yeah, all the links and whatnot will be there. So
So I understand that there's a fee for this.
there is a fee.
Okay. You mind going through the fee, and then also if there's a discount code?
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, with Pulse on Crypto, so the course is $600 at the moment, but we are running a special. It's the holiday season, and we're here talking with ProFights Be Like, so we wanted to, 'tis the season, really. So we have a 40% discount running. Code PBL. If you want to go ahead and type that in, that'll give you a 40% discount. So that'll get you into the Discord, and that'll get you the course. You'll get 2 of the ebooks. So that was my original kind of thesis of, like, I kind of wrote out in 2000, was like July of 2023, what my 2023 to 2025 outlook was and where it could kind of go in the future. So you get that as well as a top 50 pick. So we looked at the market pretty much and said, like, what are the top 50, not blue chip, but all like well vetted tokens and different crypto projects that are going to do very well in the future. So you get that, and I mean that's the majority of it pretty much. So I think for the price of what, $300 to $600, I think this is well worth it. I think it's absolutely worth it. Yeah. So.
And for me personally, like, if I can talk from a personal perspective, like, I just remember, you know, discussing, crypto with you back in February, March, about Solana and buy this, get that, whatever the case may be. And, like, I finally tapped back in like October, wasn't even paying attention to it. And, like, I had all these gains, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, hold
Yeah.
on, let me tap back into the Discord real quick, because we have this information and we got to use it for sure. Because, as you said, whether we like who's in office or not, they're very, crypto heavy, and it can only go up from here. And that's the
Yeah.
thing too that I've come to the realization is that we can't depend on the government to make decisions for us. The one thing that we can have power within ourselves is us creating our money through investments and things of that nature. Because no matter who is president, you're still going to have to pay your mortgages, your whatever you pay, your monthly light bill, gas bill, and we can't really depend on the government to give us money or our job to give us increases. We have to do what we need to do to ensure that our families are good, and that we're looking into investments that will not only set us up for right now, but also in the future. Like,
Yeah.
for example, going back to my example of discovering Bitcoin in 2015, if I would have bought 3 Bitcoin at that price, I would have over $300,000. Now, who knows where that I would be right now? Time is really money. Like,
Mhm.
we spend 40, 50, 60 hours per week at work. Just imagine if we had millions of dollars or whatever the case may be, how much time we would really be getting back to spend with family, pay attention to investments, do things we actually enjoy, instead of wasting it years and years working a 9 to 5, or if you're a nurse, 7 to 7, or whatever your shift may
Well,
be.
and that's the thing. I think you can actually do that calculation pretty easily. So, like, you figure out what is, like, okay, so you have, what's your time worth? So if you make at this current moment, you make, let's say, $50,000 a year. If you make $50,000 a year, you say, all right, well, for me to get 10 years of my time back, that would cost me $500,000. With that, people make that type of money in crypto, but the thing is, it's only for a season. Like, there's a time period, there's a window, and at this point, I think that window is absolutely closing, because things are going up. Once we get past 100,000, really, and kind of break out of this little area right here, it's not going to stop. So along with that, Once Bitcoin goes up, everything else goes up. But the thing is, everything else goes up so much harder than Bitcoin. So when I bring it back to that, all right, let's say 500,000. Again, it sounds like a crazy number to be able to make in the span of a couple months. But if you have, you can hit like potentially 20x plays or 30x plays or 100x plays if you know where you're looking at. And if you've done your well-vetted research to understand if this is something that I could potentially get into, all right, well, now you could potentially buy 10 years of your life back to where, hey, maybe you could work, but maybe that also gives you the opportunity to switch fields, or it gives you the opportunity to spend more time with your family, or it gives you the opportunity to, get the house that you want. Maybe it depends on what do you want out of it, and you have to figure out what your number is. Crypto kind of has that stereotype as like, oh, it's just the Lambos and the whatnot and the popping bottles. That's not. I don't think the average person is really in it for that. I think it's for the reasons that we're talking about. Like, what is that going to do for me? What's that going to do for my family? What's that going to do for the next generation that comes behind me? So you're absolutely right. We have to choose the options that are best at the time. Like, what's the opportunity that's best for right now? I don't know what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years, but the opportunity that's best for right now, from what I see and for what I've looked at and I've seen across the landscape, it seems to be Bitcoin and crypto for at least the next 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely. And we're going to see where we are December 2025.
We're going to see.
We at that 200,000 Bitcoin mark or 450,000 mark. The Pulse on Crypto gives a lot of game out, It's $1 million information. Unfortunately, they're not going to charge people $1 million for it.
Can't do it.
They're going to charge the 600. But if you use the code PBL, you get that 40% off, which is $360. So $1 million information for $360. What's up, Chris?
Well, what I will say is this too. So like we, it's the sticker price is 600. We got the discount for about 360. It's going to have to end up going up too, because like, again, as you get more people and you accommodate more people, you're going to have to increase for quality as well. And to, get more tools and whatnot, make the overall experience better and consistent for everyone. Javon said it right. This is really like $100,000 and $1 million information that we're giving away for, the sticker price is $600 at this point. It is, as I say, a window of opportunity. So, I mean, if you're watching, this is December 17, 2024. You may watch this, you may look back and watch this in like 8 months and say like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, let me hop on this. But unfortunately, windows do close. Like, so that's the thing. We just really have to be cognizant of like what the sense of urgency almost. Like, what's the sense of urgency? And this, again, I said, crypto goes in cycles. We're in the part where I said it goes either sideways, it goes up kind of slow, which was, in my opinion, really 2020. 2023 was sideways. 2024 was up slow. 2025 is up fast for like the first 6 months, and maybe it might range. It'll probably range for a while, the latter half of 2025, but that's my projection at least. So again, you want to catch it before it fully goes to that like super fast phase, because once it's reached that top of that super fast phase, well, unfortunately, the money has been made at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. You got any final words?
Buy Bitcoin. No, yeah, no.
It is to it at this point.
Like, no, at this point, though, it's really all it is. Like, just and here's the thing. Let me say this. So I talk about crypto and whatnot. The ultimate goal and the last thing that you have to worry about at the end of this bull run or however long it is, the question soon becomes, how many Bitcoin do you own? Because at this point, I would, all the gains you made or whatever, I don't care what you make in the bull market. How many Bitcoin or at least Bitcoin equivalent have you ended up with? Like, how much Bitcoin can you buy at this point? And again, Bitcoin is scarce. There will be a time where you can't just buy Bitcoin off the open market. That's not going to be a thing anymore. This is something that like I've never seen before, and again, it has never existed before. So I understand why it's like not something that clicks initially for people, but again, once you do understand it, it starts to become very clear. So overall, I would say like buy Bitcoin. It's pristine collateral. Get into crypto. Jump in the deep end. Figure it out. Join Pulse on Crypto. See what we got to say. and go from there, really. But I think this is, again, for the next 5 to 10 years. I can't speak for it forever. For the next 5 to 10 years, I think there's going to be a massive wave of opportunity that people have the advantage to take over, like you can take advantage of.
Absolutely, absolutely. Chris, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak to your favorite pro fight today.
My number, hey, favorite pro fight.
You ain't got to lie to me on camera because you know we are on
What
a
you mean? What I
podcast.
got a lot for, Craig?
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that for sure. For sure. Appreciate it. No, I appreciate you for coming on, spitting a little game to us. Hopefully, those who are listening join us within the Pulse on Crypto chat to get more information on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and all that other good stuff because it's definitely helpful. And I've definitely tapped into another level and definitely looking forward to us and everyone in the group making more money in the future. So,
Absolutely. Hey, we want everyone to get this information. Like I'm not gatekeeping at this point. There's no reason to gatekeep. Well, there is. It's the entry fee. That's about it.
yep.
But that's about as much gatekeeping as I'm gonna do. Like I mean, Javon can tell you, like we're transparent, man. Like I'm not. We're the same plays that we're getting into. We're gonna let you know, because there really is room for people to get into this stuff. Like it's not something where it has to be just like, oh well, three people can win and nobody else can win. So
Yeah.
we're on the front end of the wave. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate you for coming on. Um, that's postoncrypto.com. And if you use the code PBL, you'll get that percentage off to knock it down from $600 to $360.
yeah,
Shout out to Chris once again and all those
yeah.
people that are in Post on Crypto. You want to shout them out again, everyone who's involved?
Yeah, so you got like I said, it was originally founded by myself and I don't know if you knew Orlando. He went to Mizzou. Yeah, so he went to I've known him for since Mizzou, but really we kind of got tapped in 2018. So he's part of it. Um, and then one of my homeboys, his name is Chris too. He's probably one of the only other people whose opinion I really trust on decentralized finance and like really the ins and outs of it. We actually learned from the same source. So again, at a certain point, I had to pay too. Like I had to like literally, because you're not going to find this information on the street. You're going to have there's going to be generally a paywall. It's like there's a very small percentage of people who actually understand it, and Chris is one of those people. Um, I would say also Trav, Big Trav, in the group. He is one of the sharpest shooters, I would say, in terms of like the markets and really figuring out like what the next wave is going to be for meme tokens and whatnot. So between me and him, like we tend to look at the alts pretty hard. So um, yeah, and then also Nosah too. Like Nosah is in there doing futures and all that type of stuff. So
Another one of my Neos. Shout out to Spring 16.
yeah, shout out to
Nosa.
Spring 16.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. No, appreciate you for shouting them out. Appreciate you for coming on. Once again, everyone, postoncrypto.com. Use the code PBL to get the percentage off. How long does that code last until, Chris?
January 17th. And matter of fact, go to Post on Crypto on Instagram. We're working on the website right now. So yeah, just post on crypto on Instagram. All the links will be there and everything. Or Chris Talks Crypto on Instagram too. I also got the YouTube. So check those out. And then that's going until January 17th. We got to make sure that we get through all the January Founders Days and whatnot. Yeah, give them something to celebrate. So yeah, no, just check us out. So
Sounds good. And I'll make sure I post all of those links everywhere on the YouTube, all the podcasts, wherever you watch your podcast. Well, watch your podcast on YouTube, listen to it on Apple, Spotify, and now Google Podcast. This is the Pro Fights Be Like podcast, episode 44. Chris Talks Crypto. If you want to follow us, please follow us at Pro Fights Be Like on all platforms, as well as our site on Instagram at PBL Podcast. And then he's Chris Talks Crypto. You can find him on Instagram at Chris, CHRIS, Talks Crypto. And also make sure to follow the Pulse on Crypto team. That's Pulse, PULSE, on crypto on Instagram as well. Once again, I'm Mr. PBL, Mr. Pro Fights Be Like. This is the Pro Fights Be Like podcast, episode 44. And We out.